Welcome to Learning NodeJS from Scratch series. Today we will install NodeJS in several ways: one Docker, Vagrant, VirtualBox, and using Node Version Manager (NVM). So we will install Sublime with some packages, set up our GitHub account, and we will set up our initial project and our Express.js project. So let's get started. We'll start with Docker. We will write a simple HTTP server that just responds with the hello. Next we will make a docker ignore file that excludes synchronization the nodes modules folder. Next we need to initialize a package.json which is used by NodeJS to manage dependencies and run scripts. And now we will create the Docker file, which will contain the information required to create a Docker container for us. We expose port 3000, and when we run docker build with -t node.js and dot after that, we create a docker image named docker node.js. After that we run it with docker run -p and local port, local IP, local port, and the container port that is exposed, and after that image to be used for the docker container. And when we run it, starts our application, a simple hello world. Next we will check how to run our application with Vagrant. When we run Vagrant init, it will generate a Vagrant configuration file. After that we need to edit the configuration file to specify the source of the VirtualBox. We will use Ubuntu 16.14 from Bento repo. After that we specify the synchronized folder, the current host machine folder, and the virtualized folder in the image. After that we specify which port to bind on the local machine to the guest machine. The guest machine is the Vagrant image. After that, when we run Vagrant up, it spins a VirtualBox image. We can SSH to this virtual machine and start writing our application. Now we must install NodeJS. We make the Node modules folder. After that we enter the project folder. And we write our simple HTTP server. We intentionally write different messages so we know we are running different versions of the application. Next we'll set up our application. The only configuration that we have to make is to set up network port forwarding. Port forward the host port 3000 and the guest port 3000. And for convenience we port forward port 3022 to guest machine port 22 so we can SSH to it, and for example start the VirtualBox headless mode so we don't have one visible application running. And again set up NodeJS. We write our HTTP server. Next we'll set up Node version manager so we can run multiple versions of NodeJS in our machine. We write our example HTTP server. And when we run it, we see hello message. Next we will install Sublime Text. We go to sublimetext.com, we go to download and select our version for our platform. After we install it, we go to package control EO and copy the installation script for Sublime Text. And when we open Sublime, we go to show console, we paste the script and run it, and after that we have package control in our preferences. And we install packages, for example git-gutter, that will display changes that we made to our source on the left side on each row. And another really easy step to do is write a Sublime snippet. So we go to Tools, Developer, New Snippet, and in the content we specify the snippet. In the documentation you see what these vars do. In tab trigger, when we press the tab key after we typed certain text, for example CL, it will trigger the snippet and we specify the scope. Source.js is for JavaScript files. And CL tap, and we have autocomplete snippet. I will make a test user in GitHub to show you how to set up your SSH keys, your projects. Type the repository name, which is your project name. Next you go to your console where the server is. You type sshkgen. Cut the IDRSA pub file that is located in your home.ssh folder. You copy this, the whole string. You go to your settings in GitHub SSH and GPG keys, add new SSH key, a name that is recognizable for you when you paste it, and the setup is complete. Now you can clone your project. We initialize a package JSON with npm init. After that, we can start our project in Sublime. After that, we need to add git ignore, and in git ignore we put node modules. Next, we see that git status shows us information about what we have changed. Git adds all the changes on all new and changed files to the stage, and we commit our initial commit of the project. We have done our first task. We also set up our NodeJS from scratch Express.js project, so we can have the two side by side. After we cloned our Express.js application, we add it to our Sublime editor. And side by side we can see what's happening. So we run npm init to set up a package JSON file. Next, when we run npm install express --save, it will download express.js and save it to our package JSON file. Next, we must write our entry point, and we will set up a simple server the express way. First we require the express.js. After that we initialize it. Next we specify a route, .get the get dot we specify the the entry point and the callback function to be executed. After that we say the application to listen port 3000, and now we have to run it. In the next video we will start writing our Node.js application from scratch, and we will start by simple routing system.